Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for coming. My name is Adam Flint. I'm from the Binghamton Regional Sustainability Coalition, where I manage the Southern Tier SolarWorks program. And I'm really pleased to have everybody out here today to talk about how important community solar is for Shenango County and the communities of Bainbridge and Guilford, and to appeal to the Public Service Commission and the governor to make a change in the proposal that the Public Service Commission staff has put forward. So today you're going to hear from the mayor of Bainbridge and also from a professor who's resident in Guilford. And they're going to talk a little bit about the benefits to this community, to this area, and why we feel that the current proposal is a bad idea. The benefits of community solar are that because it's not located on the property of the people who are off-taking, you don't have to have property. You can be a renter, you can have low income, you can live in a forest. It doesn't matter because it's not on your property. Further, it should produce a discount over the current rate that you're paying. Community solar is new to the state of New York. Regulations were first put into place in the summer of 2015. There have been a series of roadblocks already, which have meant that only 2 arrays are up in the entire state. One of them you see behind me in Trumansburg. Our hope is that we can go forward with this project in Bainbridge, the Bainbridge-Guilford Solar Access Project, so that right here on this hill behind me, there will be an array like this. It will serve dozens of families, businesses, and other entities in this community. The Commission is considering on Tuesday a proposal from its staff that would lower the value of shared solar and would make the process of developing shared solar more complex and harder to finance. We're telling the Commission that this proposal needs to either be rejected or it needs to be significantly modified, because we feel that shared solar provides a whole series of benefits, and those need to be valued by our state pricing process. Those benefits include economic and employment benefits. They include access benefits to low and moderate income New Yorkers, environmental, health, and climate benefits. The current proposal values none of these. I'd like to introduce the mayor of Bainbridge, New York, one of the people who brought this project to us, Philip Wade. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Philip Wade. I'm the mayor of the village of Bainbridge, and I'm supporting this project because I think it has a great benefit to both Bainbridge itself and the citizens and the entire part of Shenango County. When I first heard about this project from Berta and Guido, I was intrigued, and as well I was excited. Here's an opportunity for us to bring solar power to this part of the county and to our residents. Community shared solar is an excellent way to introduce solar power to this area of the state. It's great because, as Adam mentioned, it's an investment here, but it provides a benefit to many people of this community. Solar power is probably not within the reach of the low to moderate income families. And we have a large number of those in this area of the county, in fact, this area of the New York State. I'd like to see this project succeed because I think it will be a great benefit to our citizens in providing low-cost solar power. I'd like to see it succeed because I think this would be a great opportunity for us to show the rest of the state and even the nation, if you will, the fact that solar power is reachable and can provide benefits to the people that it serves. I'm kind of intrigued by the fact that our Public Service Commission is imposing certain costs on these kinds of projects, where our governor has actually stated that his goal is to seek 50% of all power generated and used within the state of New York will be done by 2030. And solar power is one of those key factors to actually reaching those goals. So imposing these additional costs, and pseudo taxes on these types of projects is certainly not one way to encourage them. I'd like this project to succeed, and I don't think the Commission is doing a good job by trying to make this more complex and thereby making it more costly for people to pursue these kinds of projects. we'd like to be a bellwether for the entire state and for this region and bringing solar power to our people and the people of New York State. So you can see that I'm very much in favor of this project, and I'd like to see it succeed, and we can do this with the help of everyone within the state. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Mayor Wade, for being here and for your support. I wanted to just emphasize a couple of things before our next speaker. One is that the governor made a commitment when the regulations were rolled out that every New Yorker, regardless of income or zip code, would be able to get access through community solar. That has not been the case thus far, and as Phil Wade pointed out, the Commission should not be in the business of putting more roadblocks in our way. The second thing I want to mention is that this is one of several local press events that have been going on across the state, in the Hudson Valley, in Buffalo, and elsewhere. And we had a press conference earlier of a virtual kind that involved a number of statewide outfits. We're going to continue it in next week when the Commission will be meeting on Tuesday, where we will be present. And depending on what goes on, we will react appropriately, and we will also be going to the governor's office to talk to him. So next up on the list, we have Professor Ken Fogarty. Ken is also the chairman of the Shenango Community Action for Renewable Energy organization. I've known Ken for some years as a champion for renewable energy and as somebody who has really, I think, done a lot of the real on-the-ground work in education of his neighbors and of folks in the county so that people understand the value proposition of shared solar. So it's my pleasure to invite Ken to come up and say a few words.
Thank you, Adam. And thank you all for coming to Guilford on this nice solar day. As you can see, the sun is shining, and actually I joke, but I'm producing about a third of my energy needs today, even on a cloudy day like this, with my solar. As Adam mentioned, I'm Ken Fogarty, and I'm chairman of CCARE, which he explained is Shenango Community Action for Renewable Energy, which has been in existence for about 10 years. So as we look at where we are now and where we will be going, I think it pays to look back a bit. 10 years doesn't sound like so long ago, but at that time, solar energy was really something you saw in magazines. Occasionally you would see it on a roof, and you would all remark on it, oh look, that must be solar energy. And at that time, we knew very little about it. So as we approached our local authorities, the Board of Supervisors, and suggested that we learn more about this, we ran into a roadblock. Most of them were naysayers. They said it won't work in Shenango County, you have to do that in Arizona and other places, and it just can't be done here. So what we decided at that time, we didn't know much. We then reached out and had community forums where we invited in experts, and they informed us on the nature of this business, and gradually we saw more and more homeowners buying into it. I myself bought in 2012. I have a 7.8 kilowatt system on my roof. It produces not only all of my electric needs, so my bill is usually zero. About this time of the year, it gets up to $16 for the connection fee, but then they pay me that back when they buy the 30% of what I send back to the grid and sell to the grid. So it provides all of my needs and allows me to sell excess back to the grid. So over the years, we had forums. We finally did get the Board of Supervisors to allow several energy providers to come in and speak to them. That worked better than inviting them to our forums. When we did that, if we got out of the 20 supervisors, 1 or 2 to show up, of which the town of Guilford, I'm proud to say, our supervisor always showed up for these forums. So we decided we better have a captive audience, so we finally prevailed on them. They let us present to the board, which we did. The board was very interested. Many of them stayed for a half hour, an hour afterwards speaking about it. So a lot of the naysaying has been laid to rest. And as we look back and look around today, we see Oxford Library in the neighboring town. I'm happy to say the Fred Lamphere is here. He is one of those who championed that. And Fred, although I can see Oxford from my back porch, I can't see the solar, so you have
I just want to
invite
say, we
me
have
over.
64 panels, and even on a day like this, we're getting a full 50% of
Sure.
our...
Yep. So
It's
Fred
our
has
net
told
metering.
us he has 64 panels on his Oxford Library property there, and even today it's in 50% production, which is great. Just to help us understand that, on a good solar day in the spring or in the early fall and in the summer, I can produce in one day 3 or 4 days worth of my energy needs. And on a day like today, when the day is shorter, foggy, and was snowing a little bit, I will still produce about a half of my daily needs. So we put to rest that whole idea that it doesn't work here. What we are concerned about is I have other neighbors here who would like very much to have solar panels, but she loves trees. She doesn't want to cut all the trees. Several of my neighbors are in that situation. So that's why this community effort is so important to us. People who want solar but don't have a property that fits the needs of putting the project in can get in on this thing here. But as we've heard, the PSC threatens us with making it more difficult to put these things in. And many years ago, I was with a friend and we were pushing a wagon of wood up a hill because I was trying to avoid paying the delivery charge. And he looked at that hill in front of him and he said, you know, we're never going to get up there. We're never going to get up there. As I said, look, George, I said, look back at how far we've come. And that's my message to you today. Although we realize there's going to be obstacles, look back in the last 10 years we did wonders. And I'm pleased that Adam is here pushing this new kind of project. And I think we're going to see, with patience and effort, a whole different world emerge. So thank you again for all coming. It's a delight to see my friends and neighbors here and my co-workers in this solar revolution.
Thanks very much. So a couple more things before we wrap up. I just want to say that this is a beginning in terms of shared solar. We have to scale. We have to be able to do lots of these things all over the state for all kinds of people for years to come. That will mean many jobs. Currently, according to a report that came out earlier this year from environmental entrepreneurs, there's 85,000 people in the state of New York employed in the clean energy sector, about 2,000 of those within the southern tier. On the national scale, clean energy is one of the single largest job creators since the Great Recession. I think we're all aware what's happening right now in the United States. And what I will say is that New York has been a leader in renewable energy, in clean energy, but it's time for the governor and Albany to step up its game. This is where New York really has to lead, has to shine, has to show the rest of the country what can be done, the benefits of clean energy. Cut through all of the misinformation, as Ken talked about. We are going to be rolling out a campaign this year on April 29th. That's going to be for our 5-county area, Broome, Tioga, Shenango, Delaware, and Otsego, where we'll be having a whole series of events. This year is going to be different. In previous years, we focused largely on rooftop residential. We're going to be doing, as you can see, community shared solar. We're also going to have a contractor dedicated to do large commercial arrays. And we have a new thing in Broome County called Commercial PACE, which is a great new financing tool. And I'm in discussions with Steve Craig and others in the county to try and bring that here to Shenango. It's a great tool for nonprofits and businesses to finance energy improvements. So I want to thank you all for coming.